Hey everyone, Brick Build Brick Films here, live on the set of LEGO Anakin vs. Obi-Wan, and today we're going to be talking about part 2 of my guide to stop motion tutorial. Now in the last video, which by the way, if you guys haven't seen and you want to hear more about this, go back and check out my first video. I'll leave a link in the description for that. But last video we discussed how to set up your stop motion and all the materials you need for preparation. In this video, we're going to get into filming the stop motion itself, including setting up your set, which we went a little bit over, correct way to film certain cycles, camera angles, and much more. I'm also going to be going over how to use Stop Motion Studio, so lots going to be covered in this video. And as always, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more of my content if you enjoy this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. And now that you're on Stop Motion Studio, here's what you're going to need to do. Going to press New Movie. Now it's showing me my camera. I'm going to set up my camera accordingly. Most of the time you're going to want to keep your characters closer to the center of the screen. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move Anakin back a little bit, move Obi-Wan forward so they're both sort of centralized on the screen. I'm now going to press the camera icon in the top right corner. You're going to want to onion skin your film by adjusting this bar on the right. Notice my camera's wobbly, so I usually solve that problem with a rubber band. It holds my phone in place and keeps it from wobbling too much. You can also tap the button lighter to keep your camera from moving as much. Now that my camera's in place, I will want to go over to the camera filming options and press lock, focus, and exposure, this middle option. You can also adjust how far you want your camera to be zoomed in. I'm just going to keep it at the normal setting. Also going to want to make sure your camera is focused on your characters up front. You can do that simply by tapping on either of the two characters up front, and it will focus the camera on what is closer to the camera itself. Now that I've got the camera set up and ready to go, let's begin. Now that I've finished my short stop motion, I want to make sure that it's running at a high, smooth frame rate to make it look extra good. You don't want to take too many movements in between your frames. In case you noticed in that montage, I was making very short movements in between every frame. That means at a higher frame rate, it's going to look a lot smoother. If you make big movements in between frames, it's going to look choppy and sloppy and just not overall very good. You want to make short movements and momentum movements, like for example Obi-Wan swinging a lightsaber. You want to start off slow movements and then bigger movements between lightsaber swings, and then whenever he's about to hit something, slow down real quick at the end before a collision to make it look like realistic human movements. And then I always run my stop motions on 12 frames per second because it's just a good frame rate. It's a decent, smooth frame rate for what I just filmed. So I'm going to make sure it's on that, and then I'm going to press the play button to watch what I just filmed. Now if you'll notice in that one shot, Anakin was floating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this shot right here where Obi-Wan cuts Anakin in half, and Anakin suddenly disappears. That's because I took a blank frame to mask. Now masking is whenever you hold up something whenever you're trying to make it float in a stop motion, and then you erase what's holding it up to make the illusion that it's floating. Now in this shot, for example, I held up Anakin by his lightsaber. This might not look as good because of the lighting, but this is just a easy, quick example. So right here, I'm just going to erase off as little as possible. I erased a bit of the lightsaber, but since in normal brick films I would edit my lightsabers anyway, it wouldn't be noticeable. Now with certain other things, you wouldn't want to erase any part of like other stuff. You'd want to erase as little of the object, if at all, none of the object as possible. So you're going to want to just erase everything out of the picture that was holding it up. Whoops. I'm doing this very carefully. It's gonna look kind of strange, but you want to get as close to the outline as possible to where you won't see a noticeable change in shade outline. Looks like that might be the best I'll be able to do with this specific picture, but not all instances like these are the same. In some instances it won't be as shadowy and it will be less noticeable. So now that I've erased that, I come back and erase the blank frame, so now it just cuts from that to that, and then I'll want to do the same with this frame, erase my hand out of that frame as well. So I'll go ahead and do that, scroll to make a bigger erasing size, erase my hand out of the picture, and if I erased a little bit of Anakin, I just press undo, and now Anakin's hair, the bit that I erased, has come back. It's going to be really hard to do without erasing part of Anakin. See, I just made another mistake. I just press undo to undo the mistake. That's the best I'm going to be able to do right there. In a normal stop motion, I would take longer to erase all the darkness out of the background, like take my time. But since this is a tutorial video, I don't have that much time because I am screen recording and my phone is going to run out of storage if I take as much time as it would take me normally. But as a sloppy-ish example, I go back, erase that blank frame again, and then here's now what it looks like. Anakin falls to the ground. And as you can tell, the stop motion looks very smooth. It's not choppy. They walk at a normal speed, and that walk cycle I use is actually a 12 FPS walk cycle. It's the walk cycle you'll want to use. So real quick, I'm going to demonstrate how that goes. First, you're going to want to take a picture of the minifigure standing straight. Then whichever leg they're walking on, typically their opposite arm would move in the opposite direction of the leg movement, but in this one the characters' arms are staying still just because they're fighting with lightsabers, and it's not always necessary to make the arms move, it just looks better if you do. Their leg's going to go forward, then on the third frame they're going to be sort of balancing in between the two studs with both legs half going forward, one half going backward. Then the next frame is going to have them standing on that one leg that they put forward with the other leg going backward. And then the next frame they're standing up straight again. And then the next couple of frames go as follows, but vice versa with the opposite leg. And then they, of course, with the lightsaber movement, they reel back their lightsaber, and then fast movement towards the middle where they collide, like I was talking about. You want to do that ease in, ease out process to make it look like realistic movement. And then you get this easy made stop motion right here. And for those of you who are wondering why I'm using white and gray sticks for the lightsaber, it just makes the editing process easier for my good friend Fork Plus Toaster to edit my lightsaber effects for this stop motion. I've been using that. It just makes it a lot easier to see than a transparent lightsaber piece. But for people who don't need to use lightsaber effects, and you don't have to, there's amazing stop motions that were made with no lightsaber glowing effects. You can just use the regular clear transparent blue lightsaber piece, but that's the way I film my videos. Now that you've finished your stop motion clip, you're going to want to go back to the home page, you're gonna want to name your movie. Let's name this movie, let's go with Test, because this is a test stop motion, so that fits. I'll go Test, and then, oh, no, you want to press and hold, export the movie. You're going to want to save it as, you can go with 4K or HD. I'll go with 4K, because that's the highest quality. In this case, my phone does not support the selected format, so I'll need to choose a different format and try again. So I'll go back to Save As, and this time choose HD 1080p. And then I'll wait for it to download. It'll take a shorter time to download shorter stop motions. Alrighty, and now that is done, I will save this test into my Anakin vs. Obi-Wan clips folder. And there you go. You've officially made your first stop motion clip. Well everyone, that was it for this video. In the next video, we're going to go more in depth on how to add in sound effects, more clips to a stop motion, an intro, maybe some visual effects, and much more things like that. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you found it helpful, remember to leave a like, comment if I missed anything, and I'll make sure to catch up on that in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.